Hey guys, what's up? You probably ended up on this video because you were wondering what goes into starting an online clothing brand and what it takes. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to show you today in this video, and there's no other video on YouTube that will give you this information. A lot of people try to make videos like this and don't have any real life experience, and they try to gatekeep information, but that's not what I'm going to do today. This is information that I've learned over the past 5 years of bootstrapping e-commerce brands. I so wish I could go back in time 5 years ago so I could watch this video and skip all the learnings that took me so long to figure out. But I want to share all the learnings with you guys so everybody can win this year. So if you're super serious about starting your online clothing brand, watch this whole video. Not half, the whole thing. Because the information just keeps getting more valuable towards the end of the video. And be sure to take notes because you won't find this information on any other YouTube video out there. Alright guys, well if you don't know me, I'm Nick, I'm 26 and I've worked in the e-commerce space for about 7 years now. My goal is to use this channel to build my own brand called HILO based on all the things I've learned over the past several years. As always, please like and comment on the video, it really helps the channel grow, and you'll be entered in as a product tester for when we design our first piece of clothing. Alright guys, well like I said before, I'm going to share a plan so you can start your own online clothing business right after watching this video. There are going to be a lot of steps and a lot of details and probably need some more explanation after the video, but be sure to let me know in the comments if you want explanation on anything else, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, so step one is probably the most important step in the process. Number one is it's not going to be easy at all, and make sure it's what you love doing. You have to enjoy the process of creating your own clothing company because I guarantee if you're just doing it for an overnight success that it's not going to happen. I've seen and heard so many stories out there about companies just blowing up overnight. Companies may look like they have blown up in a short amount of time, but I guarantee that's not the case. Unless you're a very, very rare circumstance, companies spend a lot of time and a lot of resources on planning and launching their own business. So just know that you have to enjoy the process and know it's not going to be that easy. If you don't have a huge budget or a lot of money, that's okay too. You can build up as you go. The second step of this journey is you're going to want to establish your brand and your brand name. Likely if you're thinking about starting an online clothing business, you already have your brand name in mind, but it can be tough sometimes to choose a brand name. Think about the types of clothes you're going to be selling and the overall goal of your brand when you're choosing your brand name. At the same time, you're going to want to write your story for the brand and what your brand stands for. The story of your brand is basically the foundation of your brand and why you're selling the products that you are. And how do you want the customers to feel when they interact with your brand? For example, if you're starting a skate or streetwear brand, you'd want to establish why you started that brand. Was it because of your love for skating or streetwear? Was it to give back to the community or a different angle? Along with this, you're going to want to list out your ideal customer. Their age, their interests, the music they like, who and where they hang out with, their demographics, and much more. This will help you find out who you are selling to and your designs that you're creating. After establishing your brand name, you're going to want to secure a domain name so you can open up an online store. The best place to do this is GoDaddy.com. You can get a domain for about $12.99 for your first year, which is super reasonable. Having an actual domain rather than a Shopify domain looks so much better and will help you in the long run. Later in this video, we'll talk about how to link your domain to your Shopify store as well. After you have your basics for your brand set up, you'll be ready to start designing products to sell on your online store. I will say it's best to start and focus on just a few designs at first because the more designs you have, the more upfront cost it's going to be. When starting a clothing brand, you're going to need your designs as well as a tech pack. A tech pack is basically a spec sheet of your clothing if you're going the cut and sew route. If you're doing print on demand or printing on blanks, then all you need is the design. But the tech pack lists all your measurements on your piece of clothing, along with details on fabric, fit, and design. A tech pack is not always essential, but I do recommend going this route to keep everything organized. And it really helps get your product manufactured properly. You can do this yourself or by hiring a graphic designer. You can teach yourself Adobe Illustrator pretty easily, and in my opinion, if you're going to be successful in an online business, you want to learn Adobe Illustrator. When starting a new business, you need to take on some new skills. Adobe Illustrator is a great tool to create designs for your store. Once you get to know this platform, it's going to help you tremendously with every aspect of your business. It'll help you edit content for your social media platforms, your website, and email marketing as well. There are a lot of different videos on YouTube where you can watch and learn tutorials about Adobe Illustrator. If you don't want to go that route, the next best step is to ask your community if they know any graphic designers. For me, I would go on LinkedIn, make a post, and see if anybody could recommend a graphic designer that would help me out. Or you can go to Fiverr.com where freelancers can help you with a project. If you don't have LinkedIn and don't want to try Fiverr, you can always try reaching out to your community on social media and see if any friends or graphic designers can help you. Once you have your product designs and your tech packs, you're going to be ready to reach out to product manufacturers. This is where the bootstrapping comes in and can be the part where people really get frustrated and give up on their brand completely. Finding a product manufacturer can be one of the hardest parts about starting an online clothing business. It will definitely take some time, effort, and persistency if you want to do it right. I have a few favorite ways of my own to find product manufacturers that I guarantee you have never seen on YouTube before. In my opinion, the best way to find product manufacturers is to scrub a competitor in your niche's import and export list. There are sites out there like Import Genius that will tell you where the company you're researching is importing and exporting their products to. This can be huge if you're trying to find a trustworthy manufacturer. If a successful clothing brand is working with this manufacturer, then why wouldn't you? This won't work at all if you're trying to find a smaller brand's manufacturer, but you'll be able to find a lot of big companies' manufacturers. Once you find the name of the manufacturer you want to contact, you're going to want to contact them and reach out to the R&D department. The R&D is basically research and development and can help you with sampling and producing your product. When you reach out, you want to keep your emails very straight to the point to avoid any confusion at all. Remember, less is more. You don't need to clutter your emails with extra words, get straight to the point. This ensures that nothing gets lost in translation. It's worth it to note that some factories may have a high minimum order quantity, which is basically the amount that you have to order for them to produce it. Most clothing factories will have a pretty reasonable MOQ though. Suppliers can often add hang tags and poly bags to your finished product as well, so you just have to ask them about things like that. Emailing the suppliers can take a long time just because you're in different time zones and different schedules, and also sampling can take a couple months as well to produce your clothing. So that was one of my favorite ways to find product manufacturers online and can really help you when you're trying to find a manufacturer to start your online store. Another great way to find product manufacturers is to scrub your competitors' LinkedIn. See who's working in their product development department and see who they're connected with and see if you can find any manufacturers. They're likely connected with some of their suppliers on LinkedIn, so from there you can send them a direct message and ask if they can produce some samples and manufacture for you. Just be careful when trying this way out. The last and most risky way to find manufacturers is through Alibaba. There will be thousands and thousands of results out there, but you'll have to be super careful about who you worked with because you can easily get ripped off on Alibaba. Always ask for pictures of the factory and pictures of the product similar to yours that you want to create. I've had some horror stories with Alibaba with a manufacturer who has promised to deliver an order which never shows up. Never. So please be careful who you work with and just use your best judgment. Overall, choosing your clothing supplier can be really important because it's going to be a huge part of your business. Always make sure that you're working with a responsible and ethical manufacturer. Once you find your manufacturer, receive samples, and place an order, it'll be time to move on to the next step of your journey. And that is producing photography content for your website and store. There are several websites out there that you can send your products off to be shot. And you can even do this at home if you have a decent camera and some decent photo editing skills. When you're just starting out, you want your product photos to look nice, but you don't want to go out of your way and blow a huge budget on models and expensive photographers. After you have some quality photos of your product, you're going to be ready to open up your online store. Your online store is super important, and this is going to be the place where your customers come to learn about your brand and tell your story. This is the part where you're going to want to fire up that Shopify account linked below and start getting started. Shopify offers a free trial and is super cheap month over month, and also is the easiest way to set up an online store. I started selling on Shopify when I was just 19 years old and I was super stressed out about the monthly payments after the free trial, but likely you'll sell them enough product to cover the cost in the future. I think now it's around $20 a month, but it could be cheaper and they definitely offer a free trial. Like I said earlier, once you set up your Shopify account, you're gonna wanna link your domain that you secured to your Shopify store. In the settings of Shopify, there's a section where you can go in, log into your GoDaddy account, and automatically connect your domain. After you connect your domain, you'll be ready to set up your online store. In my experience, it'll take you a few hours to set up your store with Shopify. Be sure to take your time with this and know that it's a learning process and you'll eventually get better at it. Setting up your products is pretty straightforward and you'll get the hang of it in no time. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help. I do believe that you can get by with the free templates on Shopify, but a paid theme, in my opinion, will be better because you can build upon it and make some customizations to it if you need to. There are also several ways that you can customize your Shopify store with Shopify experts. Shopify experts are people who can help you develop your online store. All you have to do is go to the Shopify experts section on Shopify, submit your posting, and then get applicants and quotes on what your job would take. This is much cheaper and faster than hiring an agency to help with your website. Be sure to read the experts review first before working with anybody. One of my favorite companies to work with is called Glowross. I'll link them below so you can all give them a try. They do some really solid work, especially for beginner stores, and their turnaround time is super quick. They do project work too, so you can pay them per project rather than paying them a monthly retainer. Let me know in the comments with any questions on setup or customizations for your store. The next thing I'll talk about is apps for your online store. Apps are a great way to add advancements to your online store, and usually they offer a free plan. The #1 app I recommend you getting on your online store is Yotpo Reviews. This is essential to provide some social proof on your website so that customers will see that other people have purchased the product and are enjoying it. It can also help existing customers drive traffic back to your site to make another purchase after they leave a review. It's also super easy to send out automatic review requests with Yotpo 14 days after somebody makes a purchase. Next thing you're going to want to install on your online store is all of your tracking pixels. Tracking pixels are one of the most important things you're going to add to your website. They track users and what actions they took on your website so that you can retarget them with ads on social platforms. I would go ahead and install all the pixels for all of your social platforms, even if you aren't planning to run ads for your store right off the bat. This will give you a head start at some point if you do decide that you want to start running ads. All the data you will collect over the months before you start running ads will help you in the long run. After installing all of your pixels, you're going to want to download a platform for email and text message marketing. Have you ever been on a website, added something to cart, exited the website, and then got an email 3 hours later telling you to complete your purchase? This is where email marketing comes in. My favorite email marketing platform is Klaviyo. I'll link it below, and in my experience, it's the best way to start generating online sales for your store. They offer a free plan and a trial, which is really great, and it's pretty straightforward to use. In my opinion, in today's world, try to collect people's phone numbers over their email. I've recognized with a lot of new stores, when you're collecting and sending out emails to your customers, Google and Outlook are sending those straight to the spam and junk folder. This is why text message is so valuable right now. Klaviyo offers text message marketing as well as email marketing, so you can keep everything in one place when starting out. After setting up your Klaviyo account, there's going to be a way where you can set up email flows that automatically send to your customer. These flows can trigger after they signed up for your email list, added to cart, made a purchase, or even if your customer has a birthday. There are tons of different flows that you can set up, and the sky is the limit. So as your business continues to grow, you can add more and more flows to get more complex. After you have set up all your basics for your brand, you'll be finally ready to market your brand to the world. This is probably going to be the most important part of building your online clothing store. If you can't market your brand properly, then you're not going to make any sales and you can't operate your business like that. It doesn't matter how good your website looks or your content is, if you're not making sales and marketing your business properly, it's going to fail. In my opinion, the way that you have to start nowadays is through organic reach. This means building an audience through YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or any other social platform. The point of this is to gain a genuine following of people who are interested in your brand and what you have to offer. Years ago, you would be able to just start a website, offer a product, and start running ads right away and see some success. But nowadays, ad costs are through the roof and competition is much higher than it was back then. To me, the best way is to put in the work and try to grow your audience organically on these social platforms. Then once you have a solid foundation and audience and start generating some sales, then you can start introducing the ads to the people who have liked, watched, or interacted with any of your videos on those social platforms. These types of ads are called remarketing ads. Will likely be the best way to drive revenue for your online store. At some point, you're going to be making enough sales that you want to start targeting cold audiences or people who have never heard of your brand before. It can be really tough to find a rhythm with this, but the more data and audience you have at the beginning from that organic push, the better your cold targeted ads are going to work for you. Another way you can introduce your brand to new people is through influencers or content creators. You can find these people through social media. Usually you can find them by seeing what other people follow or what other brands follow and who they interact with. You can reach out to them to post about your product in exchange for payment. Usually an influencer or content creator won't accept product for promotion anymore unless they don't have a huge following. By the way, just because somebody has 1 million followers doesn't mean they have selling power. You will learn this as you grow and test with influencers, but just because somebody has 1 million followers doesn't mean that they can influence their followers to purchase. Some people just follow big influencers because they like their content and they think it's entertaining. But a lot of them don't actually have selling power. Like I said before, marketing your brand is going to be the hardest part of starting your online clothing brand. The best thing to remember is to test and learn. Not just test and learn, but test and learn fast. If something isn't working, then it's not just gonna start working magically one day, and it's definitely not gonna start working if you crank more budget into it. I really do believe that there's huge potential out there for all of you to start an online clothing brand. But you have to remember that things may start off slow, but everything compounds day to day, and one sale or one follower may turn into 100 or 100,000 one day. Remember to stay consistent and just don't give up. Go for it because I'm rooting for you. You never know what can happen if you believe in your product and you stay consistent. All right guys, well that sums up this video and I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video and have more questions, leave me some questions in the comments and please subscribe to the channel as it really helps us grow. Stay tuned for more videos and updates on my own brand coming soon. I really appreciate all the subscribers over the past few weeks and can tell they're gonna keep rolling in. Keep them rolling in. Keep them rolling in. Thank you everybody for the support and following along, and see you next time.